live, get my energy on. Let's see how tall we can go. All right. Oh my gosh, I didn't set up at all. I just started and I trust that the message is going to come through. And we're going to really break the spirit of not being good enough today. How's that sound? How do we feel about this little vibe and this little view? You're going to have to forgive me for the fact that with the light behind me, the screen is not as bright as it could be, but I think that's okay. So, get that watch off, it's annoying me. Breaking free of limiting beliefs, embracing the message that you are enough. You know, this is one of the most important topics. It's something that I personally come back to again and again. Hello, thank you for joining this little live stream. I'm here on Hayman Island. I wanted to stick to my new commitment of going live on YouTube every Tuesday morning though, around the 10 a.m. mark. It is 10:30 in my time zone right now. So we'll get into the exact rhythm of the timing over the coming few weeks. But I just really want to create that habit of consistency, actually, to show up for something that I said I'm going to show up for and that's important to me, and really just build some word and some power and some truth and some connection and community for sure here on YouTube as well. So if you have been following along on my YouTube for a little bit, but obviously haven't been going live here, this is literally my third ever live on the platform, then please say hi, let me know you're there, or maybe you've watched me on all my live streams over the years on other platforms. And maybe you're just brand new and you have no idea what's going on. Hi, I'm Katrina Ruth. I have an incredible online business, which I've been just evolving into for 17 years now. I've produced over $25 million in income in that time just through that business. But more importantly, what I've done is I've learned how to align into being who I'm meant to be. And of course, that's a continual journey. And I'm here to help you to do the same, to become fully you and show up from the place of purpose, passion, flow, what's inside of you, the truth that you came here to share with the world, and ultimately who you came here to be. And so this topic that I wanted to bring today for our live conversation here on YouTube around breaking free of limiting beliefs and really just knowing that you're enough. To me, this is about breaking the spirit of not enoughness, and it's about breaking a spirit of unworthiness, and it's about breaking a spirit which could be of rejection or fear or just any number of things, but ultimately some sort of something that's running inside of you that's saying you're not enough, you may not be worthy, you need to achieve something, do something, prove something at best in order to, be enough, and in order to achieve any sort of acclaim or success or have impact or be noticed or loved or goodness knows what else, or at worst that you just don't get to have that. And thank you for your comment, Kathy. I saw that and now it's disappeared. I don't know how to look at the comments while I'm on the live. I guess I'm going to learn that as I go, but I did see a comment and I'm going to have a look again later and answer you. So thank you for saying hi. So here's the thing, okay? Here's what you need to understand on this topic. And like I sort of started to mention, and then as I do, I went off into my ramble, I still do the work in this area for myself. I still have that voice within that's not from within, let's be clear on that, but the voice that will try and come along and taunt me or mock me or, put me into a spirit of despair or just kind of exhaust or drain me, which might say to me something like, well, do you really think you're going to get to have that in that area? Or do you really think that, you can take it any further than this, or that next level crazy dream over there that you're not sure how to navigate or where to even start with, do you really think you would actually get to have that? Or maybe it's all going to fall apart, or maybe you're just a fraud and blah, 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 right? So it's not that anyone who you would look to on or offline or learn from, or anybody who has created results and impacted the lives of many other people, even as I've been fortunate enough to do, it's not that somebody at a certain point has graduated from being human. It's not that they don't have these, things come up within them, and we each have, we each tend to have different areas that more so tend to get hold of us. So for some people, it's more fear of, I guess, getting it wrong or not knowing what to do. Or for some people, it's directly feeling like maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I'm not worthy, maybe I can't have that. And these things are connected, of course. For some people, it's feeling like, that their time is over or they've left it too late, whatever the thing is. We each have our kind of different areas and they all sort of play together. Those things don't go away. They may diminish, they may be reduced, they may, just naturally start to take a back seat in your mind's eye. But for as long as you continue your journey of being human, And particularly when you step into new areas or you really decide to anchor into something bigger, even more beyond what you've already created, or you finally dust off from the archives of your soul a long lost dream that you haven't dared to dream, then it's pretty certain that something's going to come up at some point and essentially try and grab you by the throat, throw you off path, sway you off path, tell you that that there's not even a path, and that if there were a path, then you're not allowed to be on the path. Here is what you need to understand. It is not about always knowing how to completely get rid of those thoughts. Sometimes that can work quite effectively simply by, no, cancel, not available, no thank you, boom. But really, even when that works that easily and that instantaneously, that's either because you're directly calling on God and it's being dealt with. And even then though, it's accompanied by some sort of action that you need to now take from a place of understanding the lies that are being told to you from wherever they're being told from around you not being enough, or you not being able to, or you not being allowed to. So if we can understand that those fears, doubts, and just shitty things that try and come up within our mind or directly come from other people sometimes, or they just come straight from the devil. If we can understand that those things are finitely not truth, then we can also understand that we have the ability to choose to take a step forward anyway from a place of being the person who has said yes to his or her inherent enoughness. You can say yes to your inherent enoughness whether or not you feel it in that moment. And sometimes it's a matter of saying yes to that inherent enoughness whether or not you feel it, not only in that moment, but maybe the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. If you've ever embarked upon a journey of completely transforming your body, or you've seen somebody else do it and maybe lose like a significant amount of weight, for me, the best examples of this were after my pregnancy, because I have had a really solid fitness habit for 25 years now, since I was 17. I was a little heavier actually in my earlier to mid-teens, but I've never gone through a journey personally of losing a tremendous amount of weight outside of post-pregnancy. But I spent 13 years as a trainer, and I helped transform the bodies and in insides and, like inner game basically of hundreds upon hundreds of clients personally throughout those 13 years. And then thousands more when I had my first online business, which was a fitness business. And so I understand it. If you've ever seen someone embark upon a journey of transforming their body fairly dramatically, whatever the reason is, you'll know that it's pretty standard that person, and this might have been you, will have to show up day in and day out for a period of time before the results can be seen. And some people get physical results faster than others. Some get them almost instantaneously, which is nice. Others, it takes a while, like longer than what one feels is reasonable or fair. And in most cases, you'll feel internal changes, and so that can help to motivate and keep you on track, obviously. But a lot of the onward journey in that area, and I just use that example because it's a simple example, is faith-based. You're putting faith maybe in somebody who you've hired to help you, for sure, and in education and knowledge, but you're putting faith in just an understanding that it makes sense for me to continue to apply myself in this area, whether or not I can see or even necessarily feel the validation or certainty of it working. Now that example may or may not, depending on your, story in that area, feel like an easier example. For some people, that area of life just feels never-endingly daunting and as though it's something that they'll never ever be worthy of, to feel, comfortable and free and at ease or whatever they want to feel in their body. But I've seen people choose it anyway when they didn't feel it. And all, so-called evidence coming at them was saying, well, look at your history, or look at this, or look at that, or look at your habits, or your sabotages, or your weaknesses, or the way you don't whatever, or your genetics, or whatever the thing is. Why would you think you ever get to have that outcome, that body, that energy, that way of feeling about yourself? I've seen people choose it anyway. And in some cases, I've seen it where day after day after day after day after day after day, they were choosing it in spite of the fact that there was not really any feedback occurring aside from the internal building of resolution and various other things along those lines, to suggest to them that it was going to pay off. It was a decision to show up anyway. I did the exact same thing in my business when I was at a pivotal point where I had made quite a bit of money, but it just all slipped through my fingers. I had crazy tax debt. I had crazy credit card debt. I was faltering. I was trying to follow different rules of business and marketing that just didn't sit right with me. I really just wanted to be able to write and speak and say whatever I wanted, but I was just continually kind of falling back into patterns of maybe I do have to do these different sales things that I don't really want to do, but maybe I do have to do it because otherwise I'm never going to break through. And it was just kind of this continual thing where eventually I gave in and I decided I'm going to surrender the outcome, because on a deeper level, I just know that it's true that me just being me is enough. And not only that, but I know that it's true that me just being me is required. And not only that, but I know that it's true that me being me and just being me in every, element of how I would show up in my business is a gateway to the making of millions of dollars, the impacting of millions of people, and the getting to go to bed each night knowing that I've lived the life that I came here to live. And I just knew it somewhere deep inside of me that it wasn't true that me just being me is not enough. And that it wasn't true that I needed to add all these fancy or just, not aligned for me, not expansive for me, strategies and processes into how I ran my day and my week and my business in order to somehow prove the enoughness of my message, my work, my impact, the call on my life, or anything else at all. And do you know what happened when I fully gave in and surrendered and chose to show up from a place of I choose that I'm enough, even though I feel all these things about maybe I'm not? When I decided to surrender to that, submit to that, and just be disciplined to that showing up from that place, things changed in what seemed like a heartbeat, because it was an energetic shift. It was an energetic full turning away from ways that I was behaving and operating in my business that were coming from a place of not enoughness, of fear of not being enough, not doing it right, not being good enough, not getting it right, not achieving the right steps, missing out, not doing it perfectly, and therefore never getting there, and maybe just not being worthy of getting there at all, regardless, right? I had to opt out of that. Now, I'm a hard worker, I'm diligent, I show up, I'm consistent, I have dedicated work ethic, a solid freaking fitness background that gave me a lot of that, and it's just in who I am. But that wouldn't have resulted in me making the multiple 8 figures that my business has produced. It wouldn't have resulted in me impacting so many clients around the world to where my clients collectively have produced hundreds of $millions in soul-led income. It wouldn't have resulted in me getting to just teach and preach and share and be who I'm meant to be day in and day out. It wouldn't have resulted in the other businesses and investments and just the life that I get to live just through my discipline and diligence and committedness and showing up in it. That wouldn't have got the outcome, because if it would have been going through a lens of not enough, maybe don't get to have to do it perfect, have to do it right, you're not getting it right, you maybe missed a step, you better go backwards, I believe I would have made some decent money in online business and some decent headway, and I believe I would have impacted people and helped people as well, because effort, exertion creates momentum, right? So any form of effort and exertion is going to create some kind of an outcome. But would I have stayed the course? I don't know. Who can say, right? As I might have got drained out from that, I would say. There's no way I would have produced the income that I produced, but there's no way I would have produced the impact that I produced. There's no way I'd be living with the flow. There's no way I'd be living with the ability to teach and preach such a powerful word that God gives me to share to you, because I would have moved forward for years from a place of operating from my limiting beliefs and not enoughness, and thinking that I needed to somehow get to a place of feeling enough and having some kind of proof and having it all laid out in front of me before I can operate from being enough. I recognized, and God showed me that, and it was a prayer, and I fell to my knees, literally. And it was a visualization that God gave me where I was shown that if I would continue on the path that I was on, struggling and pushing and trying to get it right and trying to be perfect and trying to prove my worth, that what I was doing, God showed me this vision. Some of you have been in my space for years. You've heard this story before. Some people brand new. It was a visual that I got. And I was on a roller coaster in the visual. And I was standing in the baby nursery. I was in my second pregnancy at the time. And I'd had all sorts of great success and highs. And I'd created a lot. But it was always just slipping away, slipping away, slipping away. I couldn't seem to hold it. And it was against me. I'd created it at the cost of me. It wasn't like out of integrity as such. It was out of soul integrity. But what I mean is I wasn't submitting to just being Kat, sharing and teaching and preaching and letting the message flow. I was telling myself, you got to do all this stuff, girl. And then maybe you get to, one day get to be who you want to be and just write and speak what you want to write and speak about. You got to do all this stuff and then maybe you'll be enough. You got to do all this stuff to prove, your right to be in the marketplace, essentially, let alone have clients, let alone sales, let alone anything else. And it was exhausting. And so I was in the nursery and I was getting broken. The pregnancy was getting crazy. I actually ended up hospitalized for the second half of that pregnancy. It was a bit before that, but things were happening. I was having these crazy hemorrhages all the time. It was all happening. And I was doing all this stuff in the business that just was exhausting and draining me. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I just want to be able to write and speak. But okay, I got to do all this stuff. And I just broke. And I just remember crying out to God and saying, God, I can't take this anymore. How much harder does it have to be? Or something like that. Like, how much worse is it going to get? It just felt like I was always juggling everything. And most of all, I was juggling the perpetual idea that I needed to prove my freaking worth in order to ever get to live my life and live in the exhale, Please leave me a comment. Tell me you feel this. Tell me if I'm speaking to you. Tell me if you're on replay. Let me know if you like this topic. Let me know what else you'd like me to talk about. I want to know. I want to hear. So I cried out and I said, how much worse is it going to get? Or I can't take this. So, something like that, like how much worse is it going to get? And I literally heard the voice of God say to me, oh, way worse. You're going all the way down. That's what I heard. This was one of the first times in my life at the time that I'd fully heard God, right? But it was like a visual came to me straight away with this, right? And in the visual, I was on a roller coaster. But my feet were going through the carriage of the roller coaster like Fred Flintstone or something. So I was kind of manipulating, controlling the movement of the carriage myself. And so instead of just coasting down the downward slope of the roller coaster, what I was doing was holding on. I was holding on to the edges and my feet were coming through and I was not letting it go too fast. And so I saw very clearly that God was showing me, you're going to end up at the bottom, things are going to get harder and harder and harder because you're not in alignment. You're not saying yes. You're operating from an idea of not being enough. Thank you so much for this beautiful comment. Tai Chi? I do not know how to say your name, but please tell me because I like to know. Soul Aligned Life. Oh, hi, Anna. Hi. I was so excited because I just love you. I love everyone. But, when I know someone personally, then I'm even more excited, probably. So what was I saying? I got excited. God was showing me clearly, you're just gonna keep going on this downward slope. It's gonna get harder and probably more debt and more craziness, and it was impacting on everything. And because you're holding on and you're refusing to operate from what you know is inside of you, and you're buying in. You are buying into this story that the only way that you are ever gonna get anything proper next level money growth, business growth, but really anything is if you have to manipulate everything and control everything yourself and do all this stuff that is totally against your soul to do so that one day you can be. And in the vision, God showed me very clearly, and it was obvious, it was also mathematically logical, that when I would get to the bottom of the slope, the downward bit where the carriage would go down the roller coaster, because I'd been engineering it down, not free flowing, that I would be stuck at the bottom. Do you get it? No momentum. I just saw it so clearly. And in that moment, I instantaneously, and I mean literally, physically, in the room, in the nursery, threw my arms up in the air, letting go. And I just said, because God had said to me, when I said, please, I can't handle this, how much worse is it going to get? His answer was, oh, you're going all the way down, girl. I'm like, that's nice. And then he showed me the visual. So my response in that heartbeat of a moment was, well, bring it on then. Bring it on then, God. Okay, I'm going all the way down. Just freaking smash me down then. Bring me to the bottom. Smash me down. Not smash me to pieces down. But just let's just get it over with then. I'm done. I'm done. And I fully surrendered. And in that moment, I made a decision that changed my life, a decision that has made me tens of millions of dollars since then, a decision that has resulted in me impacting the most incredible creators, entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders in the world who are my personal clients, and then tens of thousands more of incredible entrepreneurs, creators, artists, leaders, messengers, people like you who do my group programs all around the world. A decision which has resulted in the fact that every day I get to wake up and impact people to be who they came here to be, and most of these people I'm never going to meet, and you might not even buy my courses. You might not come into my space in that way, maybe just hear one thing from me one time, but I know I'm having an impact, which is that I surrendered to being who I'm meant to be. And I made that decision right then in that moment that I would give my life for the rest of my life for what I knew it was meant to be about, even though I didn't feel like I was definitely enough or that I could be worthy. And I certainly had no logical reason to think that it would eventuate in everything that it has. I guess I did know it on a soul level, but when you know something on a soul level and you believe and you dream, I'm meant to have that kind of business, that kind of money, that kind of relationship, that kind of body, that kind of life, but you haven't got it yet. You have to live every day with that voice that's like, yeah, you're just making shit up. Like, you're probably never going to get that, or maybe you're never going to, or, maybe you're not all that you thought you came here to this world to be. I had all that. It wasn't not there. So really, we're talking just trust. And I was just tired as well. I was so tired of holding on, not just from the pregnancy tired. I was just tired of just holding on all the time. And I was just done. But I just realized I didn't even care, I was like, I said it to my husband at the time after that visual, because he came into the room, and I was like, I don't even care if I never make another cent on the internet again, like through the business that I had at the time that's ultimately evolved into what it is now. I don't even care. I'm going to write and say what I want to write and say. I'm just going to let it out. I'm just going to write and speak what I want. I'm going to go all in on that for 3 months. If it doesn't work and I got no money, then I'll just go back to personal training. Yes, Kathy, I know what needs to be done. I see the vision, but it continues to exist in the future. The future is now. You're being shown a timeline that's available now. That future you is in the wings, right? Like center stage, your center stage being the you who you're being right now. The future you is in the wings. Like literally, like, you want to let me have a turn at some point? You're going to hog this stage forever? Can I come out? She's there. You got to choose it though, right? You got to align yourself into the posture of being her. It's a decision. It's a surrender as well. It's a willingness to let it all go. I surrendered money fully. You got to understand that. I surrendered business success. I said to God, I do the thing. I'm just going to do what I have to do. Full surrender. And if I don't make money in 3 months from now, I don't have any money, I'll just go be a personal trainer again. That's what I said. Like, there's always a way to make money, right? So it was a decision to operate beyond my own limitations. It was a decision to show up anyway. It was a decision to operate beyond my own not enoughness. It was a decision to put myself in the space of, I'm going to do it anyway. I am so sick of trying to get myself to a point of being enough to be able to live my damn life and be who I came here to be. And no, I don't know every moving part of how that's actually going to look, but I got a bit of a vibe of it, and I definitely know it's not this. And so I'm just going to do it anyway. And so what I want to ask you today is, where are you holding on? Where are you trying to manipulate the outcome because you're so damn scared that if you don't do it that way, you're never going to get anywhere? You know that this is not the pathway. Where do you need to let go? How do you bridge the gap between the reality of the now and the vision of the future? How do you navigate the void in faith? Because you do, because that's the definition of the void. But you got to be fully in the void. But how you do it is like every day you get your, mentoring or your messaging or somebody that's going to speak to you. So you equip yourself, you build that inner strength, you build that resilience, you talk to God, you pray, you study the Bible, you study books that are going to help you, you join the Becoming Fully You Academy. This is the last day to get $1,000 off on the Becoming Fully You Academy, which is the place to be in my space. Crazy low cost, even without the $1,000 off. It's at the KatrinaRuthShow.com/Becoming Fully You Academy. 7 portals of learning, each of which are insane structured curriculums, everything you need. It's like choose your own adventure style. You get whatever you need, like everything that you need on the business and entrepreneurship side. I mean, like down to the dot point of how to have crazy successful online business, every different area of learning you can imagine. Strategy, practical mindset, obviously, but purpose and God stuff, soul stuff, quantum and supernatural stuff, body stuff as well, because it's Becoming Fully You. Live courses and trainings. We've got live courses starting in March in the Academy, so go check that out. Definitely get in there. Just send me any questions if you have. Just ask me a question in the comments or send me a DM on IG or something like that. The Katrina Ruth Show. So it's at the katrinaruthshow.com/becoming fully you academy. But really, yeah, to come, like, do that for sure. Answer that call if it's a call. Go read the page and then you'll know. But you got to just have your daily practices, right? Like every day it's like, all right, get up, connect in. Like, God, show me, reveal to me, what is this day about? What do I need to know? As far as like learning, studying, shifting, shedding, clearing stuff, you can't just have a list of things that you think you need to do in order to get there. Otherwise, we're literally talking about the same thing, like you're trying to prove your enoughness by doing all these different things, right? And so it's the same thing I was describing, like holding on. So it needs to be more, no, I'm going to trust that I'm doing what I need to do. My heart is in the right place. I'm choosing God. I'm choosing truth. I'm choosing surrender. And each day I'm just going to like take that one little next step or plant that next seed, or the right person will come in, and it's just a continual letting go. But as far as your actions, you got to just be checking yourself, right? Like, how would I be showing up now if it were from faith and trust? What would I be doing? This is the best one that you can ask yourself as far as your actions, whether it's business, love, any area of life. What would I be doing if I was just doing it anyway? Like if I was just being who I'm meant to be anyway in this area. So for me, that was how I knew I just need to write and speak. I don't even know what the writing and speaking is about or where it's going to go. It wasn't a business plan, but it's become the foundation of my entire, online empire, because I just followed the thing that I knew I was meant to do anyway. And when I said to my husband, I'll write it and I'll like write, speak, whatever I need to. And if I don't make money from it in 3 months, I can go back to the gym and work there and be a trainer again. But the other bit that I didn't say just before to you guys is, but I said, but I'll do the writing and speaking for the rest of my life anyway, even if it makes me not another cent. And it was a soul contract. It was a contract I made with God and with my own soul to go, I will do this for the rest of my life anyway. Like right now I'm aligning myself. So that was my ex-husband. So right now I'm aligning myself into the posture of being the wife that I need to be for the God-ordained husband who I know God has chosen for me and who's going to find me. Where is he? In a minute now. Right? But I'm like aligning into being that wife and the righteous woman of God, and imagining and going into the visuals and choosing, like building things for God's kingdom together, building our separate, empires and kingdoms, and fun and family and like silliness and play and craziness and all those things. So I'm seeing it, I'm visualizing it, I'm choosing it. But I'm remind myself every day, but I'm choosing to be that righteous woman that I want to be in God regardless. I'm not doing it for an outcome so that God is like, well done, good and faithful servant. Here is the husband I prepared for you earlier, or here is the relationship. That's not what I'm doing, right? So it's like, no, it's time to do this anyway. It's time to be this kind of woman. It's time to stop dating in this way. It's time to stop looking around in this way. It's time to stop making compromises where I know that somebody is not putting God first in their life, and I'm trying to let me just focus on all the things that are wonderful about this person, but ignore some of the key things that are not in place. It's just time to stop anyway, for the sake of my own journey, whether or not I feel ready, whether or not I feel good enough, right? So limiting beliefs, they keep coming up. You go, okay, cool, I see you. I'm going to choose what's right for me anyway. I'm just going to do it anyway. That's how you be in the void. And bit by bit, day by day, you're just aligning yourself into being who you're meant to be, which is the exact method, that results in the things that are for you showing up. But it's the surrender of doing it for that reason. It's just kind of like the understanding that the things that are for you are going to show up when you just choose that anyway, but you're not doing it like I was joking, right? Like looking around. You're not really doing that at all. You're actually doing the opposite of that. You're like, I finally got it. I'm going to be who I'm meant to be, whether or not I feel worthy, whether or not I feel good enough. I'm going to choose and pray and, claim and decree the outcomes that I want, but I'm going to be who I'm meant to be anyway. All right. This was going to be 10 minutes. I'm going to go. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. Subscribe to the channel. Stay updated. We're going live every single Tuesday morning, which is Monday afternoon, evening in the US, and like middle of the night for sure in UK, Europe, and whatever it is for you. And I'd like to know, what do you want to hear me talk about? I like to talk about lots of things to do with business, money, entrepreneurialism, but obviously also purpose, God, soul, life, really anything, really everything I'm here to do is to help you remember who you always were and then become it. So if you want to know more about how I can help you, specifically how I can deeply help you in an all-in way, the katrinaruthshow.com/becoming fully you academy. Final day for $1,000 off. Any questions, just send me a message. And of course, I'm always doing lots of different things free stuff, paid stuff, courses. I got, you know, tons of things. I'm a prolific creator. It's what I'm here to do. So there's never going to be a shortage of ways that you can jump into my space. Have an amazing rest of the day or evening, wherever you are in the world. And yes, you are so welcome, beautiful. Don't forget, life is now. Press play.